It's fast, it's flowing, it is furious. This is a track which is purely built for the epitome of speed. We are here on what is Melbourne Islands here. Cows Victoria, this is Australia. This is the Phillip Island circuit. This is your iRacing Grand Prix Series. Round 2 of the championship, and now focus going to be very much on who can find themselves in the best possible position. SimSpeed TV bringing you live and uninterrupted coverage here today of this wonderful, wonderful event. My name's Jake Sperry, joined alongside by Sam Cooper Bennett here for action brought to you here today from this wonderful track. Qualifying currently underway at the moment. You've got 8 minutes or 2 laps, whichever comes along first. And at the moment here, it seems like it's Diogo Oliveira who's got the fastest time on a 105.080 at the moment. Every reason to be happy and excited at the moment does the Brazilian right now. But still, a number of drivers still have to put times out there on the board. Cedric Beal, and just getting out on track here, Sam, championship leader and reigning champion, Matteo Ugolotti.
Yeah, Matteo Ugolotti, what a performance he put on last week at Circuit de Catalunya. Can he do the same here this week? It's a very fun, fast-flowing track with that very difficult end section near the end of the lap. So, going to be interesting to see how he can handle it this time around and see if anybody can actually catch him this week.
Well, Bradley Philpott was the main challenger last time out, but Oliveira does go quicker by about 0.03 of a second on a 105.017. So good enough then to jump up to the top of the timing stands at this stage. Thomas Bartosic having a really strong qualifying. He's done his 2 laps, 105.1. That's good enough for 3rd place at the moment. Reynaldo Augusto, good qualifying as well, up in 4th. And Adam Gleeson there in what is the fiercely forward McLaren MP4-30, looking really, really punchy and is someone who's done really well. Cedric Beal on screen right now. He's got 1 lap down in the book at this stage. Is only, though, in 12th position, wants to improve a little bit more than that, heading up over the hill at Lukey Heights, down the hill into MG Corner.
Yeah, Cedric Beal looking for a much better performance this time around. Was taken to the showers very early last week. We'll be looking for a much better result this week as he comes out of the final corner down towards the line. See if this is an improvement. And it will be up 1, but yeah, still probably not going to be happy with being outside the top 10.
Well, 1 position isn't going to cut it right now. Liam Buckley in the number 18, looking to charge away towards the line. 21 flat first sector, 20.3 second sector. Let's just hit the brakes and make sure we got no worries at all. Here comes the championship leader then. First lap of 2. We'll have time to set the second lap as well. It's a very hard 8 minutes here in terms of this one. Once the clock ticks over 8 minutes, that's it. Times are done. That's in difference to open qualifying where you get 8 minutes and the end of your lap. So here comes Ugolotti to the line and puts a 104.9 down on the board. Immediately a 10th quicker than anybody else. He's been the fastest man in all of the sessions earlier on this week, and he's just proven it again.
Yeah, absolute mark of a champion here is Ugolotti putting on an absolute worldie of a time here at Phillip Island, and he's probably looking to do the same on his second lap as he's looking even faster than he did the first time around.
He certainly is, and this is an incredible turn of cadence that Matteo Ugolotti has had. John Pat Kelly going out then to start 1 flying lap, and you know what? Ugolotti's got another lap in the book here, so can go even quicker if he should want to at this stage. He's got a 10th at the moment. John Pat Kelly there in the TQ engineering car then, the number 16, making his way then in towards this very, very tough braking zone at Honda. Of course, this is the former testing track for the Honda team, the Repsol Honda team, of course, for the MotoGP bikes that have been going around this place. So John Pat Kelly making progress then through the Hayshed corner and up the hill through Lukey Heights. This is such a very, very tough corner. You've got to turn, you've got to brake at the same time, and you've got to have confidence in the downforce.
Yeah, I said before the broadcast started that that last section, Lukey Heights, always makes the corkscrew at Laguna Seca look very timid because it's all about braking, momentum, and trying to get out as fast as possible. And yeah, it's always very difficult to master as Pat Kelly comes across the line, and he will not be any further than the back row of the grid.
So 106.4 there. Ugolotti did improve, but that puts everybody then out on track over the line. Claber to Foley, just getting in some last-minute practice right now, currently in the number 12 car. So what we'll have that ability to do for you once we get that time ticked over is to take a look at the starting grid and who is going to be situating themselves where for this race at one fantastic Phillip Island. This is the strongest strength of field that these drivers will have all week, so points need to be maximised, and especially here, Sam, because this is a small field of 18 drivers, which means that points gaps are huge.
Yeah.
Well,
points
we're going to have a little look here, Sam,
sorry.
first and foremost, at this track map. So we're going to zoom on in to where we are. We are in Australia. We are very much on a brilliant section, the likes of Winton, Canberra, Sydney, Bathurst up at the top, Tailem Bend and Adelaide over across to the left. But we find ourselves just south of Melbourne here today as we are just about getting ready to grid up at this stage. We zoom on in, thanks to Google Earth, to this wonderful island right on the very coast then of this one, as we are near Cowes, Victoria, Australia. This track opened in 1928 as a street course, modernised in 1956, and then current form 1988. This one all sorted out. So 12 turns of real difficulty, but the grid as follows. Matteo Ugolotti then on pole position, 104.823. We'll have Diogo Oliveira alongside him. In the M40M car is Bradley Philpott there in third position with Thomas Bartosic in fourth. Then it's Adam Gleeson and Reynaldo Augusto, fifth and sixth positions. Nico Veyrinen starts seventh with Jorge Martinez in eighth. Then it is ninth place for Samuli Veyrinen. And then rounding out the top 10 is Claber Toffoli.
Yeah, Klaus Siemens in P11. Cedric Bill hoping to do a lot better this week in P12. Liam Buckley in P13. 14th going to Thomas Tatari. Kent Nielsen in P15. 16th going to Ray Griffio. And 17th to Adam Webb. And John Pat Kelly rounds out your field of 18 here today.
Drivers then just getting themselves situated and ready. Matteo Ugolotti makes everybody wait then as the start procedure will happen. It's 45 laps then here today, and the battleground starts now as we get ourselves underway. It's a very good start there from Philpott. Bartosic absolutely did well. Horrible start for Gleeson there from the third row. He drops way back as they run to Doon corner for the first time. Turn 2 to Sutherland. This is going to be the big point where they hit the brakes, and it looks like we've got ourselves a little bit of in the back. Bradley Philpott then goes spearing straight across the track. Is he able to keep it out of the wall as Cedric Beale as well in troubles? It looks like Bradley Philpott was not able to keep it out, and he's definitely not happy about it.
Another terrible start to the race for Cedric Bill. He just cannot get the look right at the moment, as for the second race in a row, he's got some serious damage on that number 4 machine, and we'll have to take it back to pit road and possibly retire the car again.
And that's going to hurt because that eats into another one of those 4 drop rounds, which will be coming in on the scene. Ugolotti leads, Oliveira second, Bartosic in third, Reynaldo Augusto then in fourth position. We focus on 13th, where it's Ray Griffio in here and Thomas Tatari trying to battle it out. Tatari can't quite find a way through on the veteran Ray Griffioen, who wants to try and get through, but now this is going to be about strategy here today. You want to make it about 23 laps on your set of soft compound tyres, as here comes a chance then for a move from Jorge Martinez. He's not going to find it, but behind you can see there on screen, that was Claber Toffoli having a little bit of a look there on Samuli Veyrinen, and didn't quite happen. One lap just like that already scored in the book.
Yeah, and they're making their way down towards the very difficult hairpin. If you get this one wrong, then it really puts you off, as we're still looking at this battle, and Cedric Bill unfortunately crawling his way into pit road. Not a very happy evening for that man again.
No, definitely not, and we'll be looking for improvements then over the next sections of road that he'll be trying to race at right now. So that's going to be where the focus is. That's Nico Veyrinen then on screen, trying to chase down Adam Gleeson there in 6th place. Dropped one off at the start after a poor getaway down to MG corner. They come along. 11 and 12 will soon follow up in the mix, but They have to be alert about letting the front drivers get away. From Bartosic on backwards right now, this pack is starting to slip away as some side-by-side between Toffoli and Samuli Väyrynen there going through the final corner. That was brave. Ugolotti sets fastest lap, but again, not going to be quite close enough to see those moves. Gleeson can't get by Väyrynen, and then Väyrynen can hold off Toffoli behind. Two Väyrynens in the field, both brothers.
Yeah, Nico and Samuli. Samuli didn't have such a good run last week, but doing pretty good so far this week, as here comes Toffoli now on the outside. Make that the inside now. It changes the transition, and Väyrynen able to hold on through the hairpin. But yeah, the two Väyrynens looking very punchy early on in this race.
They certainly are, and both are punching in different ways. One is effectively trying to attack, the other is trying to defend then in this very interesting battle. Bradley Philpott is out and away from the pits. He's got a change of front wing, and he's got himself going again. He's been struggling a little bit over the course of the week with the fact that he's adopted two rescue cats, and he's had them attack his hand a little bit, so he's had to recover from that whilst he's been racing. But we focus on Kent Nielsen at the moment, who is there in 12th place, getting a good run on Klaus Siemens here in this battle for 11th. Siemens going nowhere off of the start. The DRS, that drag reduction system, which is fully operational and available for these drivers, but just not enough there to really get through, because they're heading at around 300 Ks at the end going through, and they have to be careful, especially that driver in front there. Of course, Liam Buckley very nearly running off the road at that tricky turn 2.
Yeah, and it's hostilities resumed between Siemens and Nielsen. Remember, they had a pretty sizable battle last week at Catalonia. Siemens looks to the inside through the hairpin, and Nielsen trying to hang it through for the inside line, coming through the next section, able to hold on for now, but Siemens looking very much the faster driver as they come down, as they head towards the final part of the course.
Well, he's definitely looking aggressive. He wants to get through, but now he's got to be cautious and alert at this stage. So we've got ourselves a little bit of issues. We'll take you SimSpeed radio at this stage with everything that's going on. So now Adam Webb and Thomas Tartari then having themselves a little bit of a battle, doing a good job right now through the final corner. They hold their positions down a little bit lower in the field. It is Ugolotti who leads from Diogo Oliveira, but crucially unable to break away at this stage here, Sam, because the gap is 8 tenths of a second here on lap 5.
Oliveira really keeping Ugolotti honest as we're circulating on lap 5 right now of 45, and yeah, this is a much different scenario for Ugolotti this time. He's actually not able to get away, and Oliveira really keeping him well in his sights at this point.
Exactly, and it's those sights that Oliveira is thinking about. He's thinking about the strategy games. We bring you back to coverage then, ladies and gentlemen, and giving you pictures of what is happening at this moment in time. Battles up and down the order. Nielsen and Siemens then, and Buckley all keeping their same places, unable to see any changes in that battle. Flavor Toffoli has found a way through now on Samuli Väyrynen. That one was for 8th position on the road, but now you've got to start wondering here about important points. Thomas Bartosic, someone who definitely wants to score big points, as does number 17, Reynaldo Augusto, who's in 4th place at the moment, because he was someone who had no luck at that opening round and had no luck last season despite the pace.
Yeah, both of them ended their races last week in retirement, hoping for a good points haul this time around. Currently doing very well in 3rd and 4th. Hopefully they can keep hold of those positions, but they've got a very dangerous character right behind him. Remember, Jorge Martinez, very good last week, especially with the lengthy tyre runs he had. Very dangerous right behind them, sitting in P5.
Yes, and it's all about that danger level, and Jorge Martinez is the sort of character there in 5th position who is not going to go out and set the world on fire and make overtakes the way that everyone else does. He's very happy just to sit and wait and nurture the tyres and nurse them through. It's almost like he's got healing hands the way that he drives a car and keeps tyres at an operating window, because he's able to just save them a way that nobody else can.
Yeah, as Kent Nielsen still keeping Siemens very honest as we complete another lap here, and Siemens getting the better run, and right behind them, Ray Griffioen looking very up for the fight again as he's trying to chase down Nielsen for that 12th position.
Yeah, he's shaking away Tartari and Adam Webb behind. So Ray Griff-Yeoman then from Club Benelux is really starting to motor and thinking about positions. And another thing that these drivers will be having to think about is track position coming to the pits. We're on lap 7 of 45. Everyone on the soft except Bradley Philpott, who has moved on to the medium compound tyre in this race right now. But the focus is going to be on, well, firstly, how long do you keep the tyres? And secondly, are you going to necessarily follow someone into the pits when it's so difficult here on a one-track pit lane?
Yeah, it's very difficult to get into pit road around here. I mean, it'd be very surprising if you can try and overtake in pit road, but not going to be as easy as you think it is, especially with how narrow it is.
Good run then from Nico Veyrinen here, making progress as we take a little yawn through the foliage here and the trees around this place. Gets right up to the back then through this one then as we just step away for a moment here. We'll go back to radio coverage, so to speak. Nico Veyrinen trying to focus on moves and trying to make something happen on Adam Gleeson, but he's just not having that much of a chance to attack, mainly because this is a draft central track. If you're within a second here, Sam, of the driver in front of you, you are not going to be able to make that move no matter how much you try.
Yeah, and it's always very difficult when you've got DRS as well in the factor and it's all playing against you. But if you're someone like Matteo Ugolotti, who's actually extended his gap over Oliveira to more than a second now, he's out of DRS range. Ugolotti has that nice clean air in front of him. Meanwhile, these guys back here, like Veyrinen and Gleeson, they do not have that clean air. They've got tons of dirty air that's working against them and pushing their car back and unable to make those passes.
Bradley Philpott has pulled the car over to the side of the road and has retired it then from this race of his own accord. So Bradley Philpott then out of the race. That will promote Cedric Beale up into 17th position as he tries to get something out of this event right now at this stage. But we focus here on with Nico Veyrinen still on the back of the train, which goes all the way to Thomas Bartosic. And this is the sort of track which really does here, Sam, throw out a couple of different drivers into the mix, because you don't have the traditional style of corner that you'd have, say, it's a European circuit. This is a very much a flowing circuit. This is an architect circuit. It's all about curves. It's almost like the circuit was made of a million different circles.
Yeah, and it's it was one of my favorite tracks around here, actually. Very sweeping, very flowy, and it's one of those tracks where you have to get technical and just use your brain a little bit when you're coming into these corners and try and get around the driver in front of you. Otherwise, it's not going to be a very good day to you, as a couple of people have found out already today.
Fastest lap of the race then for Diogo Oliveira on lap 9 here of 45, a 106.694 has got the job done for him then at this moment in time. It brings him back within that 1 second margin to Matteo Ugolotti, and that's the focus that Diogo Oliveira is looking at right now. Big points and getting big points early. He got a win last season over at Monza, which is another incredibly quick track, which I think really does suit Diogo Oliveira's style of driving. If you look a little bit further back then at this driver here, trying to make progress through Jorge Martinez, looking every which way like he wants to make a move on Renato Augusto.
And a big question about Martinez here. What sort of strategy is he going to deploy this week? We saw last week he went on that one-stop strategy, which promoted him up to second place, which is where he finished. Is he going to try and deploy the same strategy here again?
Well, I think he will, but the question will be, how quickly does he actually dispatch of Renato Augusto, who's dropped outside of a second here, Thomas Bartosic. So here comes the run then from Martinez. He'll try and think about the inside, but he's just got there a little bit too late for the corner, so he can't get it done just now. But if he can hold it through the dirty air, through the southern loop here at turn number 2, he's got this chance coming through Stoner Corner, Casey Stoner, of course, turn 3 into turn 4. That could be the chance he's got, but again, you can see he drops back 3 car lengths and he's got no chance. That's what dirty air does here.
Yeah, and that's brought Adam Gleeson and Nico Veyrinen back in as well, and right behind them is Kleber Toffoli as well, who's joined this little train as well. So that dirty air is affecting you in a bad way, and the bad thing that can happen for you is that it brings the drivers that you thought you got away from they bring them back closer to your rear wing again.
You certainly do. Claber Toffoli, they're in 8th place, is trying to stay with this pack right now and do everything possible to make sure that this race falls into his hands the way that he definitely wants it to. He's got the pace, as of course they were running 107.8 there, those front two, but here comes again the move. This time it is decisive down the inside from Jorge Martinez here as he gets this one, looking for the inside and gets it done. He has to cover it off again into turn 2, but he easily gets the job done. So Martinez jumps up into 4th position with that overtake. We'll catch this on a replay brought to you by the Virtual Racing School as we get ourselves a little look on how this one happens as they go on through, and it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Good setup out of the corner, DRS flat wide open, easy overtake.
Yeah, and that was just a case of a typical slingshot coming out of that final corner, and that's how you set up a pass around here. Get that slingshot, get the speed, use your DRS, and get the job done before you enter turn 1. Fantastic move there by Martinez.
Yes, it's a wonderful move, and it does just slowly shuffle the positions. We look a little bit further back to Klaus Siemens and Kent Nielsen, still in line at the moment. The Canadian Kent Nielsen against Club Diach then, and of course Klaus Siemens. And that MG corner, you talked about how the corkscrew whether is it now? I can't even remember the name. It's changed so many times. But at Laguna Seca, yes, I was trying to get the sponsorship on top of it to be correct. But at Laguna Seca, you talked about the corkscrew. Well, here comes Kent Nielsen first and foremost, trying to find a move to the outside and get the move done. And he is going to try it around the outside, but he's not going to get there as we focus on Adam Gleeson. The point I'm trying to get to at the end of the day of my long and ambiguous ramble is the fact that you've got gravity against you there. It's such a tough corner to break for.
Yeah, it's always difficult to break downhill. I mean, well, you're breaking... It's trying to negotiate a downhill carousel. It's not very easy to get down there, try and break, and then try and make it out the corner in one piece. It's, again, gravity working against you, and also the undulation of the corner working against you too.
Through Lukey Heights then and down the hill, we'll try Adam Gleeson here, looking to try and make that move happen, and at least for the time being is going to be trying to set up through these two left-handers at turn 11 and turn 12. A little bit of a wiggle from Reynaldo Augusto on the exit of 11 as he's trying to deal with what is a very squirrely McLaren MP4-30 in front, and the chance now starting to arrive for Adam Gleeson, who can put the nose up the inside here and dive for the move. He will do as they go side by side through one. Inside line then for turn number 2 goes Reynaldo Augusto's way, but if you can put the power down like Gleeson was trying to, you might have a chance coming towards 4 with a big lunge. That's going to be an opportunity. Leaders closing down the gap down to 0.4 of a second as this 3-car scrap. Oh, hello. Ooh. Suddenly there goes Nico Veronen with a dive.
Very cheeky move, very Ricciardo-esque, very there, lick the stamp and send it, and he definitely sent it right there. Gleeson falling back when he just thought he was about to get a position there.
Well, he thought he was going to get a position, but ultimately he did not. He lost one. And that is the case of what happens when you overtake. And immediately, Veronen trying to attack Reynaldo Augusto through Lukey Heights. It wasn't quite there in the offing, but again, that waiting game becomes a very important factor around racing at this stage. Top 2, nose to tail right now, half a second between them as they go through turn number 1. And first taker into the pits, Reynaldo Augusto, no surprises, tyres starts to become a factor here at lap 14. Why? Well, it's actually quite a cool track today, 20 degrees.
Yeah, and even though it's a cool track, those corners, those sweeping corners, and we've mentioned it a couple of times here today, that they will still have an effect on the tyres, and that's probably what's hurting Augusto, as he was losing time and falling backwards, and felt it was time to bring it in for some fresh boots.
Yeah, a very good decision. He's back out and away again in 16th position, about 10 seconds back of John Pat Kelly. So that's going to be worth keeping in mind as he will very firmly be going to a 2-stop strategy today in this race. Soft tyre, soft tyre, soft tyre. And again, Veronen now losing the place out to Adam Gleeson, who's got the move done. And he's done it down the inside of turn 4 with a mistake from Nico Veronen, but he couldn't cement the move until they got to Lukey Heights.
Yeah, and good job that he got the move done before Lukey Heights, because it's almost impossible to pass down there. Now, Veronen has to really put his head down to try and get back up to the back of Gleeson and try and get around him again, but Verinen probably suffering the same tire trouble as Augusto was, just not able to keep up with the back of the number 6 right now.
Kleber Foley dives down then into the pits and will look to try and make that stop a very successful one, covering off Reynaldo Augusto's move, and maybe the undercut might have helped. He's actually gone onto the yellow-walled medium compound tyre as he gets himself back out of the pit. So he is going for a one-stop, but a different way to make the one-stop work. And that is something that we have seen more and more, that the medium tyre is slower, yes, but you do get a lot more life from it.
Absolutely, and obviously you got the soft and medium or the hard. Obviously the hard would be probably the most difficult one to choose, but the medium definitely the one you want around here, especially with the tyre wear, and the medium will definitely last longer than you think it does.
It certainly does, and it's worth noting as well, if you have a tyre that lasts longer, you can do more consistent laps for longer, and that's why in the second half of stints you see that medium tyre come back into those sorts of battles compared to those soft tyres which very much peak and hit a cliff earlier than others. There's the top two at the moment as we look at Jorge Martinez now, who has found the back of Thomas Bartosic, who has been slowly losing time to the leading two. That gap has opened up to 9 seconds to Matteo Ugolotti, and it's a search there down at the inside from Jorge Martinez, but he wasn't going to have any of that in terms of an overtake. He's now got to sit patient and wait a little bit longer for his opportunities to make moves.
Yeah, if I was Jorge Martinez, then I'd probably wait until the pit stop to try and get the jump on him, but knowing Jorge Martinez, he might try that one stop again as we've seen him do last week, and probably just needs to be a bit more patient right now and wait for Bartosic to make that pit stop, depending on what Bartosic uses for strategy here tonight.
Well, we're about 6 laps away from a one-stop being a reality, and on cue is almost as if you summoned it there, Sam. Thomas Bartosic diving to the pit.
Yeah, definitely on that 2-stop strategy as he brings it down in towards pit road. Actually, we'll find out actually when he comes into pit road, as Ugolotti's on pit road as well. Yeah,
so race leader goes first into the pits as he puts on the medium compound tyre to get himself home and dry from here. So he comes back out. There's 2 types of pit exit here. Got the short one and the long one. He's got such a gap between Adam Webb and Ray Griffioen. He can then use that short pit lane to get himself back out on circuit again. There's no ideal in terms of where you need to be to take those, but it's traditional. If you know you're going to be side by side with someone, you take the long one. Now this is a case of, can Oliveira make those tyres last, go soft, or is he in a different race? That's Nico Verinen off.
Yeah, big incident there for Verinen. Not a very happy incident as we go to the VRS replay.
Let's have a little look at this then as he goes through turn 3 towards turn 4. The issue is going to be under braking as he can't get the car slowed down into the corner. He's going down 4th gear, 3rd gear, locks the inside fronts, and then, oh, well, I've got nowhere to go from there. Grass isn't as good as asphalt to keep going. He finds a reverse, which is very tough to do in these sorts of vehicles, and somehow keeps it going. At what cost? Well, he's down behind John Pat Kelly now.
Yeah, big mistake there by Verinen, and that's going to drop him all the way back to the back of the field. And yeah, it's very difficult, that corner, if you get it wrong. I said it at the start of the broadcast, Jake. You get it wrong, it could end up in trouble. And once you lock up those tyres, it's like driving on ice. You just cannot stop.
It certainly is like ice, so we'll keep an eye out on that then. The more that this race does come into view and does become a point of contention. I'm keeping an eye out on Thomas Tartari as well. He's dived down then into the pits, made his stop, and got himself back out and racing again. So Tartari back forward again, but Samuli and Nico Verinen now will be in their own battle, because Samuli here will be certainly searching for a little bit of time in the not too distant future either. He's just come down in and out of the pits potentially, or has he had a moment of his own? So let's try and work out then here, Sam, where, oh, it's at turn 2. Oh my goodness,
yeah.
It's a big moment at turn 2. So we're going to try and have a watch here, Sam, but turn 2, we've just caught it.
Yeah, as he comes through turn 2, just the back end stepping out ever so slightly, just runs wide, and then into the gravel trap, and into the tyres. Just unfortunate there for Samuli as he had such a great run going there.
God, it's so amazing here. Those two having an incident one lap after another. First it was Nico, then it was Samuli who found himself in troubles then out there on circuit. So all of these drivers who are out there right now, as we caught another little look of the replay brought to you by the Virtual Racing School, these drivers all having to be careful because they're now reaching the limits of what the tyre can do for them. On cue, in comes race leader Diogo Oliveira at the end of lap 20.
Absolutely, and he went a lot longer on those Red Wall tires. I wonder if he's going to go for another set of Red Walls and try and make it to the end here. But on lap 20, can he make another 23 laps? I'm not really sure if he can on the Red Wall tires.
Well, he's going to have to make it 25 laps on the Red
Wall.
Wall
Yeah,
tires
25, yeah.
to get it home. So he's now going to be in a real stage of trouble at the moment. And looking at it, it looks like he has gone back onto a set of soft. So he's relying on the fact that his fuel level's going to be there. That's Ugolotti who's just gone through and gone by. He's fighting with Ray Griffioen. So not only has he lost a little bit of time, that's to be expected, but he's also got a car in between that he's got to get by.
Yeah, and Oliveira is on the faster tyre, let's not forget, so he needs to use that little bit of speed advantage to try and close up to the back of Ugolotti again before those yellow wall tyres come in on the number one, as he's stuck behind Griffioen right now, so kind of needs to dispatch him before he can try and mount an attack on Ugolotti.
108.8 being done by Ray Griffioen that last time by, so he's definitely looking feisty all over the back. Which way do you want to go? Or Griffioen just shows him no lane going up through Lukey Heights. That's why it's tough to overtake there, and this is what's going to be costing the time as they go through. They can't afford to put themselves in tough position. Jorge Martinez right now having the race lead outright, as into the pits then comes Kent Nielsen just in front of Matteo Ugolotti, followed finally by Ray Griffioen. So that gives Oliveira then the release that he was hoping for.
Yeah, the cork in the bottle has been released, and now this is going to be interesting to see if Oliveira can use that tyre advantage to close the gap on Ugolotti. Like I said before, Ugolotti's tyres decide to come in by themselves, and it looks like Oliveira really is starting to close that gap straight away there, Jake.
Absolutely. This is the difference of tyre versus tyre. The medium versus the soft. The medium's going to struggle early on, but later on, it's going to be the soft that it's going to come back into. And Ugolotti's probably banking on the fact that he's going to use the second half of that race up until about lap 35, I reckon, to just try and manage the gaps that he's got. And then he'll be able to pull away when all the tyre is gone out of Diogo Oliveira. That's the focus that's happening right now. 3 still in front, yet to come in and make that stop right now. Those being Klaus Siemetz and Adam Gleeson, and into the pits comes Jorge Martinez then to make his stop, which leaves Adam Gleeson the only driver out there who's yet to make that pit stop.
And as predicted, Martinez using that same strategy used at Circuit de Catalunya, just going ever so longer than everybody else, apart from Gleeson, and actually Siemetz is coming as well. So, yeah, he did.
And also, Renato Augusto's out of the race.
Oh, wow. Missed that one.
Yep, it's into turn 2. He just goes in a little bit too deep, and it's very similar to Veyron, and we'll catch it on the Virtual Racing School replay, hopefully. He just tips it in. He's got a little bit, still a little bit longer to go, but he just tips it into turn 2, can't get it slowed down, and then ultimately finds himself finding the barriers, but he hits it square on instead of, he hits it straight on instead of square on. That's why he's out.
So unfortunate there for Augusto, and again, just like Bill, just having a terrible time of it in this race. And we thought he might have put last week's troubles behind him, but unfortunately this track, like it does so many times on so many occasions to so many drivers, just catches you out and it bites hard.
It certainly does. They can see he just goes off the circuit and you can't stop it from there. It's a heavy impact with those tyres and it's always going to hurt. Adam Gleeson then at the end of lap 23 dives down into the pits and releases himself into his strategy. So that puts Ugolotti in the lead. The gap 1.3 seconds between himself and Diogo Oliveira. Then it's a big gap back to third place and Jorge Martinez, who is there in third position. So now we're focusing on Ken Nielsen's battle here with Klaus Siemetz. These two going at it quite nicely. Both have gained quite a few places, and Ken Nielsen right now is in a really nice position, moves to the outside, looking to try and get this one done. He'll have the inside for turn 2, almost contact between them. Siemetz defiant there on the inside of Doohan Corner, but down on the inside of turn 2, they're going to be scrapping all the way to 4.
Yeah, they will be, and it's probably going to take it all the way down to the hairpin. As actually no, Seamit's actually making an aggressive blocking move there on Nielsen, as hold on to the inside line, but Nielsen going to go try around the outside here as it's almost banging wheels are coming out of the hairpin down towards this final stretch of the course, and Nielsen finally gets the job done as he finally wins the inside line.
He does, and that's a wonderful move that gets it done. So Klaus Semitz drops the place. Up goes Kent Nielsen a position then and moves himself further forward. Fastest lap of the race to Diogo Oliveira, 106.538, and he takes half a second out of Matteo Ugolotti and puts himself then into draft range overall then in this one. There are also other drivers in the pits and out. We're not going to be able to probably get a replay of what happened to Adam Webb, but Adam Webb is out of the race.
Yeah, and Cedric Bill has finally called it a day as well. He was in pits for a while. He actually came back out on track after his lap one incident and was running for a while without a rear wing, so not sure what his strategy was there, but Bill finally conceding defeat, and he has also called it a night.
Yeah, Adam Webb's issue was that he got himself in the grass on the entry to pit lane and he found the wall, and that was never going to help. So his race all done by pit lane. But Semitz now having to play defensive again. We saw this happen. Oh no, Griffey Owen going for a spin on the exit of Honda corner, just trying to put the power down a little too early. Back decides it wants to say no, and he keeps it out of the wall, but crucially, he drops a lot of time, one position as well to Liam Buckley.
Yeah, trying that late breaking move to try and close the gap to Semitz did not pay off, and just did not help with his tyre situation in the round he went, as we got a battle for the lead here, Jake.
We certainly do. It's on like Donkey Kong at this stage as Diogo Oliveira and Matteo Ugolotti try and figure each other out. Now, if you're wise here, if you're Matteo Ugolotti, you might actually decide to just defend this one as much as you can. Not use the tyres, but just place the car in the middle of the road here, Sam, because you know the longer that it takes for Diogo Oliveira to get by you, the more chance you have of winning this race.
Yeah, the longer Ugolotti can keep Oliveira behind him, it plays more into his wheelhouse, because obviously, like you said before, Jake, those tyres that are on Ugolotti's car, they might be difficult to work with to start with, but they do come into their own after a few more laps. And obviously, Oliveira on the soft tyres, he's going to be burning them off a lot quicker than those medium tyres on Ugolotti's right now.
He certainly is, and this is going to be where you find key moments in these sorts of races. Diogo Oliveira's got to figure out a way through on the Italian champion and championship leader here, Matteo Ugolotti. He's got to focus on the way that he makes that move, and he's got to cleverly craft it on top of that as well, because this is a track which is like chess. You have to work out moves in advance, laps in advance. Where is the move going to happen? And this is the prodding and poking that we're seeing right now from Diogo Oliveira.
Yeah, and it's ending in a bit of a stalemate right now if we're going to make another chess suggestion, but not able to make that move. And again, it's that dirty air that's working against him. He's not able to get close enough to try and make a pass here.
Yeah, that's very much the case. We're down to 14 runners in this field right now. One lap down, Thomas Tartari is there, but down the hill they will try and go as we focus back on Liam Buckley and Klaus Semitz now making their way through the right-hand corner then of Honda towards Siberia, turn 6 out there on the track, and that big wide line. Semitz just about able to hold his station right now.
Yeah, Semitz just falling off the back of Nielsen after that big battle they had. Now having to defend from Buckley, and Buckley looking very strong in this second half of the race now.
He certainly is. He's up in 9th place, and he's doing a really good job of things as well. So he has every reason to be happy and to be excited with the way that he is actually driving at the moment. But we focus again on the race lead and look again at Matteo Ugolotti. He's just struggling a little bit off of the exit there with a couple small wiggles to go through. But again, that middle sector is very prone to that dirty air effect, and you have to be very reliant on the mechanical grip through those corners. So Diogo Oliveira is just holding station, hoping he can get a good run, and he needs it through turn 10. He's got to work 10 to his advantage. If he gets this one working nicely, which he's done pretty okay with that time, he might have a chance of getting into turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, absolutely nailed Lukey Heights right there as he comes out through the final corner right now, and he's doing exactly what he needs to do, does Ugolotti. He's just putting his car in the exact right places it needs to be and keeping that number 5 behind him, which is crucial, again, with the tyres in mind. As here comes Oliveira around the outside. Big move around the outside, and it's going to be Oliveira with the inside line coming through to the left-hander, and Oliveira might just take this here, Jake.
It's not over yet, though. Ugolotti's still got overlap here as they head to turns 3 and now turn 4 here, but he's surely going to have to yield. He sends it back up the inside, but can he get it slow? Oh, you bet he can. Up and under tries Oliveira then, trying to get through. Just a channel between them as they go through. Round the outside of Siberia, still not going to find. Gloves off right now in terms of this race, and Oliveira, that may have just been the one charm.
Yeah, and he's going to try it again coming up towards Lukey Heights, but just not close enough this time by his next. If he's going to have one more chance after this one, it's going to have to be through that first section. He seems a lot faster than Ugolotti around that part.
Certainly does, and just how much did he gain under tow? He was up there almost at 340 kph trying to make something happen. Here comes a second attempt then, trying to get this happening then. So he goes through. Look at this. He's at 323 right now is Ugolotti. Oliveira is way higher. Again, he tries to round the outside, but again, he's got that line for the inside of turn 2, but it's Ugolotti around the outside who gets it maybe a little bit easier this time. They're starting to fight, and that's now going to be a little bit of an emphasis for those behind who hope that these two come together.
Yeah, and there's a fight going on between, well, there's not really a fight going on behind him because Martinez is about 4 seconds ahead of Bartosis. But yeah, this is going to fall really nicely into Martinez's lap if they keep fighting. And if anything happens between this 1-2, Martinez is right there to pick up the pieces, even though he's 11 seconds back.
Well, that's all he needs right now is just to stay focused and put himself in the prime position if he wants to go and make sure that this one happens for him. Oliveira tucked up underneath, wants to attack. This is the closest he's been through this section in a very long time, and surely now it's going to be a case where Matteo Ugolotti's got to sit in the middle of the road through this corner. He's got nothing to fight for now as it goes to the outside again, tries to shepherd over Oliveira to the outside. He's got the control in terms of the dynamic, but now he has to sit in behind. Now Diogo Oliveira takes the lead, but Ugolotti immediately attacks back on the inside. This is sensational stuff between two world-class drivers.
Fantastic battle in between this top two. They've been nose to tail since the drop of the green flag, and this is what we were expecting, especially Oliveira having the troubles he had last week and now able to really take the fight. And like you said earlier in the broadcast, these faster tracks really work into Diogo Oliveira's wheelhouse, and he's absolutely showing it here today.
He certainly is. These two are hammer and tongs at this moment in time here in Cal's Victoria at Phillip Island here. Just a stone's throw away from Melbourne as on the brakes down the hill again at MG Corner. We've been focusing on them for 4 or 5 laps at this point, and there's still, get this, 14 laps to go when they cross the line. So there's still a long time for this race to be decided, but every lap feels so important. And now that was a little bit of mind games from Ugolotti, making a double jink of movement.
Trying to break the draft coming down the start-finish straight as they kick up a bit of dirt coming in towards turn 1. As a bit of a connection issue there for Oliveira coming in towards turn 2. He has to back off, and that really did work out for Ugolotti, making that little draft breaking move there down the front stretch.
I wonder if he's also trying to cool the tyres off a little bit, the way he's been trying to be aggressive and try and stand in good stead through all of the battling that he's been doing so far. Oliveira may just be keeping himself calm for racing going on a little bit later on in this one. We've still got, though, those battles out on track. Buckley still staying in range with Klaus Siemetz as well. That gap 9/10 of a second at a moment. So this stage for Liam Buckley, he's now got to be careful about being dropped here by Klaus Siemetz as the gaps really are starting to form here in this pack.
Yeah, and he's not letting him get away. That's the most important part of it also. Buckley staying within firing range and not letting that number 13 car out of his sights at all. And that's important for if Siemens makes a mistake, then Buckley will be there to take that position away from him.
Yep, easily done. So Liam Buckley is going to be in full focus mode trying to make sure that he can chase down who he needs to. They do have a little bit of traffic in front in the form of Thomas Tartari, so they'll have that to focus on. Oliveira has closed back down that gap again, taken a lap to just cool himself down. That gap was half a second over the start-finish line, but now you're starting to put that pressure on and turn the wheel. But you have to also remember, Oliveira is pretty much trying to fight and get through on borrowed time right now.
That he is, and Oliveira is definitely on borrowed time now. Just think about how those soft tyres are starting to probably try and work against him now. Ugolotti's in that prime position now, where his medium tyres are going to start coming into their own, and he's going to find a lot more speed in that number one machine, whereas Oliveira is not going to have the speed he once had when he came out of pit road.
I wouldn't say it's finding speed from Matteo Ugolotti. It's just going to be a case that Diogo's going to lose his quicker. That's the difference that we have. But again, tucked up underneath with the DRS, thinking about the move once, twice, but again, has to just sit in behind at a tenth and a half back, going through turn one at Dewin Corner into the southern loop then at turn number 2 and trying to put the power down on the exit. We won't see a move this lap, but next lap, that's the focus now for Oliveira.
Yeah, and that might be last chance saloon for Oliveira with regards to his tyres again, and that is the main focal point in this second part of the race. How much longer can Oliveira's tyres last for before he decides to drop off the back of Ugolotti?
Oh, it's not a decision that he would be making. It would be down to everybody else in terms of this one. Liam Buckley then in 9th position has now got himself a lot closer to Klaus Siemens, and this suddenly becomes a case of, well, how do you battle? Well, over that last lap, he did get closer there, Sam, but by how much? Just a thousandth of a second only. That's not going to get the job done.
Yeah, it's the very slimmest of margins, but still right in with the fight anyway as we go on board with Liam Buckley. Just nice and smooth for the left-hander as we go towards Lukey Heights, and very much, again, still keeping Siemens well within his crosshairs as they come to Lukey Heights. Left-hander, up the hill, down the hill, and it's going to be hard braking into that right-hander. Definitely going for it this time around as he really closed that gap down to Siemens as we go back to the lead battle, and Oliveira is still right there.
That was a defensive line from Ugolotti. He's trying to cover off moves now, and he's taking that very narrow line. It's a lot more open and I would say more profiled, that line from Diogo Oliveira behind through the corner, and it really sets him up quite nicely here as they run through the Hayshed corner here, this fantastic right, and it's not going to be a case of setting a move up here, it's about setting up into a range through this corner and trying to stay as much as you can behind the drivers in front, because you get all those turbulences, all of the different aerodynamic packages that are put on that McLaren MP4-30. They attack out at the exit then of turn 11, over towards turn 12, and now that front stretch once again, that Gardner Straight, always seems to bring about some wonderful battles. Which way do you want to go? Inside or outside? I'm going to cover the inside. You're going to have to go to the outside, Diogo, if you're going to make this one happen. And again, Ugolotti doing a great job and chopping the nose under brakes.
Yeah, and you've got to be aggressive, and that's exactly what Ugolotti's been doing. And Oliveira managed to get around him once a couple of laps ago, but immediately Ugolotti managed to take it back, and that's what you've got to be, aggressive, especially when you're at a fast-track specialist, against a fast-track specialist like Diogo Oliveira.
Oliveira immediately tried to get that one back through 3 into 4. He wasn't going to find it that way. He'd have to be patient a different way if he was going to pick up that move. He knows what he wants, he knows what he needs, and he's not quite finding it. Meanwhile, traffic does not help Klaus Siemens through here. Liam Buckley's going to follow on through, thanks to Thomas Tartari, who is a lap down at the moment in this race, but not enough of a run there was given to give Buckley the chance, but he's in range, and that's the key right now. Range, slight mistake there, big wider line from Klaus Siemens.
Yeah, he's within touch and distance, and he's also within DRS range now, and he's right on the tail, coming from the left-hander, looking up towards Lukey Heights, and definitely going to be...
And almost a lead change there as they went on through. Again, Oliveira searching to the outside, and he's trying every which way to make progress through, but he just can't find it.
He can't, and Ugolotti's doing ever so well to defend against Oliveira, just picking the lines where he needs to, being aggressive when it's necessary, and just able to stay out in front. But Oliveira is like that. He just won't go away. He's like a pest to Ugolotti right now.
Absolutely, it's like you've got yourself a bone on the back of your car there, Matteo, and behind you, you've got one very, very youthful and exciteful puppy trying to get a hold of it. But at this stage, you can see behind you, have got Liam Buckley, Klaus Siemens. They're still trying to find their battles at the moment. The field's very spread out for the rest of the positions. Martinez third, it's Bartosic fourth, Toffoli there in fifth, Gleeson sixth, and Nielsen there in seventh. 8th and 9th, the big battle at this stage, and no changes at the moment. Siemens just quietly holding place at this moment. And Oliveira's
got the lead. Oliveira's got the lead. He's passed around the outside, got a big run coming down the main straight, and fantastic move there. Here comes Ugolotti again, and there's that aggression that I mentioned before, Jay, getting that lead back almost immediately as he lost it.
That hurt. If you are one Mr. Diogo Oliveira, you try for lap after lap after lap to try and make it happen. We'll catch it on the virtual racing school replay, and the moment it's done, one corner later, no, that's mine. And I'm sure Matteo Ugolotti will keep that in mind as they cross the line. He was 9 thousandths down. It was a wonderful run going through as they looked to attack, but the key was that the door was still left open from Oliveira. He didn't defend the place as much as he wanted to, because Oliveira just slingshotted to the outside before he had chance.
Yeah, I wonder if that was the last chance there for Oliveira, and he probably knew that as well, making that big move. But we're going to see right now as he comes out of the final corner, not quite close enough again this time round, but he wasn't that close. He was about the same distance behind. Oh, it's a very big chance. He's going to get a big slingshot coming down towards turn one. Big run again, but this time he gets the move done. But can he keep the door closed this time? He can't. As Ugolotti going to try around the outside again, Jake.
He is, but no, he's maybe trying to think about turn four. That might be the place he tries. Finally, oh, huge wiggle, oh, he's gone, Oliveira's gone, into the grass, hits the wall, and there goes the chance of victory. He did everything right except keep it on the island. That is the pressures that get yourself the chances here at the big PI.
Virtual Racing School replay for Oliveira then as he comes through the left-hander, just that bit of a slip there, the tyres just wearing off ever just slightly too much, pushing too hard, and he just couldn't control it. Unfortunately, not able to hang on, and that is the race win gone for Oliveira.
Did everything right. He got the move, but he just tried to attack on the race exit there, and he did not get what he wanted. There he goes. Round goes the tank slapper. That one will stick in the memory for a very long time. And you talk about pressure in these sorts of races, really, as you go and battle right now, Sam. And it's sometimes that mental pressure that you know is being applied, that you know makes life very difficult to try and make those moves. And especially that inner pressure of, he's on worse tyres than me by pace, and I can't get by him.
Absolutely, and it's that pressure as well where he's just focused on trying to get that lead away, not really paying attention to how his tyres were going to react once he did make that move, and his tyres kind of bit him at that point and then just spat him out again.
Just like that. Liam Buckley, though, still trying to fight for position and gain a place here. Martinez now in second. Oliveira has dropped to third. But Liam Buckley now is thinking about how he gets himself through and up into the 8th position. He's been staring at the back of Klaus Siemens for a very, very long time in terms of this one. If he squints enough in terms of the way he's racing, Samuli Väyrynen as well, fighting against Ray Griffioen for 11th and 10th place. I'm sure these sorts of drivers will squint at the back of that rear wing and pretty much be able to read that off by heart and do their eyesight test through.
Yeah, I've been seeing this gap between Griffioen and Väyrynen coming down ever so slightly as we were watching the lead battle, and Väyrynen is right there in with a shot of trying to get a top 10, but Griffioen doing what he can, just like Ugolotti was earlier, just to try and stay out in front of Väyrynen, who's looking very... he's licking his chops there at seeing that top 10 and thinking, yeah, I can get that before this is done.
Well, he's got 9/10 of a second on that last lap over Ray Griffioen, so this looks like it's going to be a very poignant overtake that looks like it's going to be on the book. So Samuli with a really good chance now to go and make something happen. So we'll see how this one plays out in terms of a factor, but at least for the time being, not going to get there just yet, but maybe a little bit later on is where we're going to be finding the move just about happening.
Yeah, and Samuli's brother Nico slowly closing in as well right behind him. He's got that gap down to 4 seconds to Samuli now as Nico's still on the recovery trail after his little incident earlier.
Yeah, Nico definitely trying to get through. He made a pass earlier on John Pat Kelly to get by, but he's about 4 seconds back on his brother and would love to get through and would love to try and gain that one extra position. All these points matter. They will gain points on the likes of Bradley Philpott, Cedric Beale and co, who have not necessarily had the best result then here today at Phillip Island, but every time you see drivers get stuck and in a bit of trouble, they are struggling to find their ways through. They will have 4 laps to figure out this overtake and this change of position, but Ray Griffioen really making havoc here for Smoothly Verinen to get through with just that factor of dirty air.
Yeah, and dirty air will probably work against Samuli as he comes down the main straight now, looking for a pass, and Griffioen trying to break the draft, but there goes Samuli. Big dive down the inside through turn 1. Not going to have the line through turn 2 as Griffioen shuts the door right in his face.
That pretty much wakes you up if you're Ray Griffioen. Try to shake it away. Nope, I'm going to give you the inside, but you can hold the outside. Chance will come again then towards turn number 4, but it has to be the long way around like Charlie Borden. There goes Ray Griffioen. He gets a big snap of oversteer, under braking, locks the rear axle up, and ultimately, not much you can do. There goes through the Veyronens.
Yeah, both of them going through there as Nico capitalising on that spin for Griffioen, just locked up the tyres and just went around on him. Unfortunately, Griffioen going to lose that battle right there.
He is going to lose that battle, and it is going to hurt in the long and the short. I can't help but notice right now that Matteo Ugolotti is really taking his foot off the gas right now at the front of the field. He's losing a second a lap to Jorge Martinez in the second position. That gap has come down to 6.6 seconds, now down to 6.1. But ultimately, time of the essence. Kleber Toffoli is also struggling right now on the mediums here. It's cold, so maybe operating windows aren't helping too much. But look at that gap. It's down to 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, really big battle there for the last spot in the top 5. And Toffoli just needs to hold on for about 3 more laps now and try and hold on. But Gleeson really coming with a head of steam right now as they come through Lukey Heights and down that hill towards the right hand. And Gleeson, yeah, he's noticing that he's got a lot more speed than Toffoli, and Toffoli is going to have to defend for his life now.
He certainly is, and it's 2 laps worth of defending. Those tyres are still in a good range right now for Adam Gleeson, and that will be very, very awkward and difficult for Toffoli to try and match with right now. He did a 108 compared to a 107.6 from Adam Gleeson that last time by, and you can see him struggling to get any grip through the corners. He's understeering a lot there, is Kleber Toffoli, and that's putting him at risk then with a lap and a half to go on the brakes. This will have to happen on the final lap, mark my words.
Yeah, and Gleeson even closer through the hairpin there, turn 4 as they come down through the left-hander, and I've just noticed, Jake, Martinez has taken another second out of Ugolotti there. Probably not going to have enough time to catch him before this is over, though.
Yeah, time, of course, rapidly running out, and old father time is against Jorge Martinez at this stage. The final lap then starts here at Phillip Island with Matteo Ugolotti in control of this race at this point in time, but still 5.8 seconds to 5. We see that Ray Griffioen here has now dropped himself behind John Pat Kelly down in 13th position. The battle's still on between Kleber Toffoli and Adam Gleeson for the top 5 as they make their way through turn number 1. And that gap still a very comfortable half a second right now here for Kleber Toffoli, making his way through the corner then, struggling again a little bit on the exit. This will allow Gleeson the chance then to close up and maybe even have a late dive if he feels like he's brave enough, but it is defended all the way. But look at that, very much confidence to try and use the outside line. We're in for a race all the way to the end.
Oh, and contact between the two.
Straight into the back goes one Adam Gleeson, who had nowhere to go from a pretty much every which way. Kleber Toffoli, he apologises for it as they go through, but Matteo Ugolotti comes to the line and will win here at the Phillip Island circuit. It will be second for Jorge Martinez. Oliveira will rue his chances in third, as now we continue to focus on this battle for 4th and 5th positions as they come to the line. Toffoli will be able to hold on.
Yeah, Toffoli able to hold on for that top 5. Gleeson, that little contact probably just scared him out of it a little bit at the end there. But another great result by Ugolotti. But Oliveira made him work for it this time around. So Ugolotti probably going to be relieved that he got that win in the end.
He certainly is. The final few drivers then coming to the line, John Pat Kelly and Ray Griffey-Owen, who was struggling late on in the race, but every reason to smile for Matteo Ugolotti, because you feel that he really had to show master craft in the way he had to battle and overtake. It's something we don't often see from Matteo Ugolotti in these races, Sam, but one that he had to get out of the playbook and dust off.
Well, yeah, he was on arguably definitely the slower tyre out of the two between Oliveira, and Oliveira had his number for the most part, but just couldn't get around him. Once he did get around him, his tyres just gave up on him, and unfortunately Oliveira having to concede a victory here tonight, and Ugolotti going to be breathing a big sigh of relief after that one.
Let's get official classified results then on your screen. Everybody is across the line. It is victory then for Matteo Ugolotti in 50 minutes and 52 seconds. The margin of victory come the end then was 5.8 coming over the start-finish line. It's third place for Diogo Oliveira then, and he will feel like he had a real chance today to pick up that victory. Ultimately, one spin, one small error out of the southern loop did all the damage. Thomas Bartosic then finishes off in fourth position with Kleber Toffoli in fifth, with Adam Gleeson trying everything to get by on the final lap, but finding himself with a little bit of a crunch to get to sixth place. Kent Nielsen will take a quiet seventh ahead of Klaus Siemens in eighth. Liam Buckley fading late there to ninth place, with Samuli Väyrynen rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, Nico Väyrynen coming up in P11 there. A spin midway through the race really put pay to his top 10 chances here today. John Pat Kelly going to be happy with P12, I think, after starting at the back. Ray Griffey-Owen coming home in P13. First driver a lap down, Thomas Tattari, and last driver actually running here tonight. He comes home in P14, and then your retirements, Ronaldo Augusto, Adam Webb, Cedric Bill, who's had another horrible one here today. We'll be looking to pick it up next week, and Bradley Philpott, after a good result last week, first one on the hauler this time round.
Exactly, so that's going to be a shame for him. He'll definitely want to try and use one of those 4 drop rounds as we focus on where we will be going 1 week from now here with SimSpeed TV. If you haven't already, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe for more amazing content brought to you by us, as well as action that will be happening all throughout the days. And of course, in what will be just a little under, I would say, 12 hours time, we'll be heading over to Sebring for the third round of V8 Scott, brought to you by the Virtual Racing School. But next week, it's Hockenheim, a big difference maker of a circuit, and one which can definitely get a whole lot of battle and changes that go on through. Massive thanks, though, have to go to the Virtual Racing School, who have sponsored the replays that we've had here today, from the efforts that have been going on from Scott Fountain, Fonty on the cameras, from myself, Mr. Jake Sperry, and of course Sam Cooper-Bennett, who's been alongside me. It is one where Matteo Ugolotti can say he is 2 from 2, but not everything today was his own way. He's got to go back to the drawing board. He's got to work, because he knows that the likes of Marquez, Oliveira, and maybe a more luckier Bradley Philpott have a real chance of taking the challenge to him. We'll see you a week from now over at that wonderful, wonderful track known as Hockenheim.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rhythm, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top here.
Oh my god! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
This is very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go! Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?